Thank you. So hi, my name is Christophe. Hope you all had a good lunch. To that regard, who knows the word postprandial dip? Anybody? Yeah, okay. Well, because this is the blood sugar that goes down after you haven't eaten something. And if you're right behind lunch presenting, that's pretty much the thing you need to battle most. Keeping people awake. That's what I'll be trying to do in 25 minutes. My name is Christophe. I'll briefly present myself. Before that, and also to exactly fight that postprandial dip, this is the question that I will be answering at the end of the session. And that's pretty much my purpose, at least. So who am I? I am a health nerd. I'm a basketball freak. I really love basketball, and I'm a design fool. I used to work for Pfizer, did a lot of digital projects there, worked about 12 years there, worked also with Simmons & Simmons in that period. Then moved to a tech startup, worked together with authorities around mHealth, and now I'm the business director at Insights Consulting, who oversees every market research that we do within healthcare and tech and services. So this is pretty much who I am and what I do. Just checking whether this works better if I click it on. Yeah. So who is Insights Consulting? We are the third most innovative company in the world regarding market research, which means that we do market research in the most innovative way. We always reinvent market research. We also help companies in innovating their businesses and moving forward. That's what we know enough. The second part is we help companies in building the right strategy, very often linked to that innovation, but always built upon the insights from their customers. And also today I'll be talking about the patient and how the patient is moving innovation within the whole world, not even within pharma, not even within tech, but within the whole world. And this is pretty much my purpose today. We bring the customer into your meeting room, and we do this for a large amount of reasons. Within the legal sphere, what we often do is we have customers review disclaimers, informed consents. If there's a concept testing and it needs to be tweaked from a legal point of view, we send it back to the patients or to the customers to have it reviewed again, and we work in a tandem, let's say, together with you guys. We do this through technology, and we have platforms, social media kind of like platforms. We invite your customers onto a platform where they will be working over a longer period of time, multiple years, very often, directly with you, at least through us. But we will be giving them challenges that are in line with your business objectives, which can be also legal papers or legal questions that you might want to ask. So this is pretty much what I do, who I am. Today I'll be talking about one thing that I'd like to summarize in a statement that is this one. The patient is no longer patient. So my whole presentation will be structured around this. To really make my point clear that the world is changing within healthcare. Now, most of you are perhaps active in healthcare by far or by near. Most of you certainly know what the word patient means, but let's just have a look in the dictionary and see what the dictionary says. So, of course, this is not the noun. However, if you look at the definition, there's a couple of elements in there that is very strikingly a good definition of what healthcare is today. And one of these elements is this one, waiting for a long time. Now, if we do research within healthcare, any type of research, if you try to do, like for example, patient journeys, where we try to understand how a patient lives or identifies his symptoms, go to a physician, get diagnosed, get treated, how he manages his disease afterwards. If we map that all out in a journey, there's one thing that in any journey and for any disease always comes back, and that is this thing, is that people need to wait a long time. They need to wait a long time for appointments, they need to wait a long time in the waiting room very often, and very often they also need to wait a long time for the diagnosis itself. And this is pretty striking, and this is really getting on the nerves of patients a lot. Actually, one of my personal favorite quotes is that we manage our car today better than we manage our health. A while ago, I mean, if you look at your car, you might do an annual checkup. You might, certainly if he's of a certain age, you might want to go to a garage and have it checked up to see if everything's still okay. If something is not okay during that year, you might want to go to a garage. You try to get there. It might not be easy even. You might not have an appointment. You very often had to leave your car there because they didn't really know what was wrong with it. They didn't really have the time as well to immediately look at it. And a couple of days later, you go back, hopefully having a diagnosis of what is wrong. And then you might have to wait for some replacement elements, etc. So it took a very long time. This has all changed a lot in the last years. But with our health, it hasn't. Basically, we still do our annual checkups. And there is not really a good organization or a good way of going about it. So hence the statement on that level. Who knows this? Melody. It's a chatbot from Baidu in China. And this is one of the examples, I won't give a lot here in this part, but it's one of the examples that technology is trying to solve that waiting issue. Because very often it is, even in France, and you don't have to go that far, and probably in the UK as well for a big part, if you have a flu, it's even difficult to get to a general practitioner, and you might even get through the flu and not be ill anymore before you get an appointment. And these kind of chatbots actually help you in being diagnosed a little bit. So if you have any questions, your first questions that you might want to ask, the first things that you really might want to know with some symptoms that come across, you can actually ask to a chatbot. You can actually ask to a simple messenger that replies to you based upon the algorithm and the computer programming that is behind. And this already helps the waiting times for a big part. I just let it roll a little bit just to show. There's a very popular one here in the UK as well, which is called Practo, I believe. I don't know if anybody is using it. But they even have a link with Uber. So if you're really ill, you can through one push the button, you can immediately be brought to a hospital. So this chatbot is actually giving you a lot of information that the general practitioner might be giving you in the first phase. So going back to the definition, there's a second element which is very striking and very typical for the healthcare industry. It is when dealing with. They don't have, I mean, if you look at how the world has changed in the past 20 to 25 years, we have been really spoiled from a lot of point of views. I mean, everything is at the fingertips of our hand. There used to be a time where we have dictionaries, newspapers, phones, pictures, calendars, a lot of stuff that was laying on our desk is or has become in the past couple of years all assembled into one or two devices. Maybe three if you count the sunglasses, because they haven't found a solution to put your sunglasses in your phone yet. But it's actually that this is the reality of all people, all of us even, today. And this is the type of service that people really, really want. And in healthcare, that's not the case yet. Again, going back to we manage our car better than our health. In our car, we have a lot of devices, a lot of dashboards that actually can help us knowing to what extent our gasoline is up, our oil is down, whether our tires are going flat. And we even have a GPS, for example, where we want to go a place and there's a roads written out for us. If there's something on the road, they will guide you through another road. With our health, we don't have that. Even if we have health goals, there is no GPS kind of like service that helps us getting there. It's only a once in a while a checkup that we have. So can we just copy paste this straight into healthcare? Of course not. And why? Particularly because patients want healthcare to be a little bit different. They want healthcare to become this. If you're active in healthcare, you might have heard of the 4P model. I feel better. I made it a 9P model. But it kind of makes sense. First of all, it needs to be popular, but it also needs to be pragmatic. It needs to be omnipresent everywhere. It needs to be patient-centric, personalized. participative, preventive, persuasive. It needs to be everywhere, and it needs to be helping the patient. This is the type of service that patients actually want today. And this is what we see if we look at the needs within healthcare. Just think about the description of the adverb of patients. Now moving forward, and we actually will look now at the definition of patient, then this is the most easiest one. There are a couple of them, of course, but so the one who receives medical care, attention, or treatment. And also here there's two elements which are very typical and which are in fact no longer true. One is receives. Now there used to be a day where you went to a physician and you came back, and well, the physician just said, well, look, this is your disease, I think you might have this is the pill you need to take, and the only thing that a patient needed to do was remind himself to take his medication. He might walk around with these kind of pill boxes once a day, twice a day, I don't know, take his pill, and that's all he needed to do. But then came along Dr. Google, and that changes pretty much everything in the healthcare for the patient. At first, what he did is he wanted to be informed. He felt something, had a symptom, went online, and actually went to the physician, look, this is what I have. It's no longer really the case. I mean, it was in the beginning of Google, it's very much the case, but now people are a little bit informed, but they are also very much aware that it is not really easy to find the right information or the right diagnosis. However, what they are doing is after getting a diagnosis, and often you get some information from the physician, but you're not really capturing it well because you're emotional or because just it's jargon you don't understand, and then you can go online. And people actually go online to understand a lot better, and it really helps them to treat and be empowered about their disease. Today, people are even more active. They really want to do something about it. They want to have an impact on their life. And they go not only to a physician or online, but they might go to alternative medicine, change their foods, potentially buy some biometric tracker, Fitbit, whatsoever, to be busy with their health. They're actively involved with their health. One next step, and we're not entirely there yet, and certainly you know that, is that once we have all these data and the active patient who is actively monitoring himself, he should be connected to the physician or anybody that might benefit from that data for him. And this is the next step, really making sure that patients are connected in a bigger sense with the healthcare environment to really get to the fifth point, and we're nowhere near. If all the first four elements are completed, then we really can have a patient which is 100% engaged with his own disease and with his own body. Today we are in this phase. Patients are actively managing their own health. Why? Because primarily they really think it's their body. It's my body. I want to be in control. I want to have an impact on my body, on my life, and this is my decision. And one of the most striking examples, most popular examples also, is certainly Angelina Jolie. She discovered through data, but also through scientific studies she heard about, that she had a super high risk of breast cancer. And so she had, in discussion with her physician, discussed the different options that she might have in that case, and she really decided to get her breast removed. I think everybody, all of you know that story. But this is a typical example of how a patient, maybe not a patient, but a patient can actually go to his physician, work with the data that is around there, and together with the physician discuss on how to best move forward. And this is one example, but it changed the whole perception around breast cancer, and it changed, if you look at the data from DNA sampling and DNA testing, they just tripled in that same year that Angelina has done it. While in reality, physicians still today, they take the Hippocratic Oath, which if you read it really well, it says that the patient should not be in the known, and that perhaps not everything should be shared with the patient, and that the patient should be safeguarded from getting everything known. So this is what the physicians today are still doing as an oath, while the patient is actually moving forward. He really wants to have a discussion with his physician on how he can himself manage best his own disease. So it's not only about receiving anymore, it's about actively being engaged with your disease. Second part, medical attention, care or treatment. Now previously we really wanted to go from illness to health. We really wanted to be healthy. That was the only thing that matters if we talked about being healthy. Nowadays, it's about not only about being healthy, it's about being happy. People just really want to stay healthy. And if you define that, because what does happiness means for you, what does happiness means for any one of us, then you have to look at the certain age group, because different age groups might have different definitions, or they will complete, or they will look at happiness in a different way. I put some female pictures on it, but it counts as well for the men as well. So if you're between 15 and 30, what makes you happy is beauty. It's the Instagram generation. The reason why they are trying to have a healthy lifestyle is to radiate beauty. That is what makes them happy. And this is really what drives them to be healthy. If they eat healthy, if they do sports, this is their primary driver. When people get a little bit older, get a career and have kids, what makes them happy is actually having energy. They want to do their work well. They want to be a partner. And certainly when the kids are in bed, they also still want to be around and not just fall asleep on the couch. That's always a funny one. But this is actually what people makes happy. If they can actually do that, this is what makes them feel happy. Now, if they're getting a little bit older, 45 up to 60, they know that they are getting older, and that generation really wants to make sure that they can enjoy. And so what you see very often is that people start walking a lot more. They won't do any marathons anymore, at least not if you never done it before. But people will start walking a little bit more. People will start cycling a little bit more. Very often people start playing golf at that age. So this is pretty much how people really want to find that balance. They want to live normal, pretty much the same way as I did before, but they want to have it in balance a little bit with some extra movement and some more healthy foods. And then finally, when you're getting over the 60s, you just really want to enjoy. You're very close to retirement, and you just really want to enjoy your life. And this is the premier driver there is to enjoy your family, your small children if you might have one, and people try to be healthy just to be able to still enjoy at an older age. This is the 4 drivers that actually makes people move and live a more healthy lifestyle, I would say. So basically my point of view, and I've been talking about this for 5 years, is that healthcare is a word I never use anymore. I don't think healthcare is not something you can just switch on and switch off. To me, it has become something which is health management. People are day in, day out, somehow in more or less states, actively busy with their own health, or actively managing their own health. And we see that primarily in 3 elements. And I won't go into details. I can talk an hour about this. But we can see that if people want to maintain their health, if people want to be a little bit more beautiful, energetic, they focus on the number of sleep, or the amount of sleep that they get. They focus on the food that they eat, and they try to move a little bit more. Those are the 3 elements that we always see coming back when people want to go into that happiness phase, let's say. So patient is not anymore one who receives medical attention, care, or treatment. It's actually a lot. It has evolved a lot. So the patient is no longer patient. This is pretty much what I, in general, try to explain to people. This is the trends that we see. We see patient needs. People don't want to wait anymore. We see people want better services within healthcare, pretty much in the same way as I see in other industries. They want to be actively involved in managing their disease. And when they're not healthy, they want to actively manage their health to be happy. This is the 2 trends and the 2 needs within healthcare that is actually, to me, is changing the whole world. Because that is the next question, of course. Where does that impact? I mean, this sounds probably all reasonable and logic, but where is that impact? Where do we see this? And this is actually already happening. Yes, it is happening. These are the 4 trends that I will briefly touch upon. So one thing is that we can see this cross-industry. We can certainly see this in consumer technology, with a lot of personalization services around, and sharing is key within all of this. Cross-industry, cities, for example, are investing a lot these days in making people more healthy, because they actually want it. This is in Haarlem, where they completely installed new staircases for people to really motivate them to go up there. They made it really beautiful with trees, etc. Last week I was in in Zurich, speaking at a conference, and I saw the same thing 3 times. So it's really something which is present everywhere. In Lisbon, they have kind of like made a high roads for bicycles into the city, so people can more easily get into the city with their bikes. Melbourne has invested $2 billion Australian dollars into swimming pools, because swimming pools actually can go from kids to elderly. So it's everywhere. Cities are really investing in this. Supermarkets as well. Walmart may have like the low margin kind of supermarket image, but he's the one that is the supermarket that is actually having a pharmacy chain already in it, and since very recently also physicians. So within the neighborhood, or even within the supermarket itself, you can have all the health services that you might need. In Switzerland, what we see is that a lot of supermarkets have a chain of fitness next to them. So that if you go to the supermarket getting your groceries, you can also just before go to the fitness, because it's all in the same place. The same philosophy as Walmart. Obvious health clues everywhere, of course. The amount of sugar, proteins, calories, or even mentioning what type of allergens that are in that particular product. Hotels, have a look if you travel a little bit. How many times hotels have changed in the last 2-3 years, where they invested a lot more into spas and wellness. If a hotel today does not have a spa or a wellness, he might not be as competitive in the market anymore. People, if you go on travel, business travel like I do today, I really want to do sports because it's more easy to do here than with my kid around. So this is actually what people are looking for. Mercedes just recently showed this. So there's already about 150 different sensors in your car related to your car. This is the Fit and Healthy Mercedes, and it has 40 sensors in your chair, in your the steering wheel, and it can actually give you a daily overview of your vitality. They have a vitality score, or vitality coach, it is called, and you get a feedback from your car on your health. So even in the car industry, it is going. Apparel brands like Under Armour, but also Nike, Asics, Adidas, have invested an awful lot of money in applications, but also in this case, Under Armour is working together with IBM, Watson then, and offers a lot of like weights and all kind of wearable devices, because to them, they do not sell just apparel brands anymore. They really sell a health service, and that changes everything. So it's across any industry that we see this impact of people that want to be happy, more healthy, let's say. But certainly in consumer technology, because, I mean, this device, and all of you have one in your pockets, actually has more computing power than the Apollo 8 that was launched in '68. So this is the power that we have in our pockets. And we actually do about 221 different tasks on it every day, which is an equivalent of about 3.5 hours you spend on your phone for small tasks, even your alarm clock in the morning or checking your mail or whatsoever. So this is the power that we have. So imagine if you add some wearables to it, or even some monitoring devices like this one, which you can easily buy for about 120 pounds, in any shop around. But new devices are coming up, which can actually track your emotions, how your emotions is doing. If you have an allergy for gluten, this device might certainly help. Directly linked to your... this is all available today. If you want to buy it, you can certainly buy it. If you go to a restaurant, you can check whether there's gluten in there. This is Diet Center, not available yet. If you track it, then, or if you scan it, you can actually have all the nutritional values from a tomato, for example, and it gives you the exact information that you might want to have. A hair coach, Kerastase has put it on the market. By brushing your hair, you get an analysis of how healthy your hair is, available today. This one as well gives you a lot of potential analysis that you can actually do at home. And then, of course, all the DNA tests that give you a total overview of your DNA profile, your risk for certain diseases, which today is no more than $1,000 American to actually have it done. This one, particularly, $150. So it's becoming really, really cheap. Consumer technology, and all of this, all this data, all this technology offers the patient really the potential to give to get a personal service. If you go to any restaurant these days, and think about 5 years ago, these days if you go to a restaurant, they will always ask you whether you have any allergies. 5 years ago, that was not the case. Pretty much every restaurant right now is offering this. Second most popular health app is running apps. And why are they so popular? Because it is personalized to you. Your running plan, you get feedback, you get your personal social media friends on it if you want to. Mattresses, very old business, hasn't been disrupted yet until now, I would say. With Helix coming out with personalized mattresses and a couple of those companies out there right now. This is an interesting one, not yet on the market, but they are kickstarting it and they have a lot of funds right now. Pretty much the same as 23andMe, so you have to spit in a small bottle, send it up, and they will come back to you based on your DNA profile. They will recommend you to eat certain foods or not. So it's really a personalized service based on the data that you share with that company. Mappo is an interesting one as well. Once in a while, you need to wear that mask. It analyzes the moisture of your skin and gives you, and they will give you a moisturizer that is typical for your skin. And another one, very impressive. Some MIT engineers identified, based on a lot of elements like DNA and also your lifestyle, your food, your nutrition, to really, and based on that, I mean, they will create a personal shampoo for your specific hair. And they claim to have about 12 billion different shampoos. So personalization is everywhere, and specifically because people, again, want that happiness. They want to radiate that beauty or have that energy. And of course, if you look at all of these, there's a lot of data involved, the consumer technology as well as these personalized services. You need to share your data. And people really want this because, here's the man again, it's my damn body, but it's my damn friends, it's my damn car, it's my damn career, it's my damn health. People share to a certain degree elements because they feel in control of their career. If you go on LinkedIn and you put your career on LinkedIn and you try to have a network, why do you do it? You really do it because you want to have control of your own career. You want to have your own network. And this is why you actually share those information. And the same counts for all of these. If for patients like me, you share your experience online, with your specific disease, why do you do it? You do it particularly because you want to learn from others. You know that if you share, the other ones will share as well, and then you get more information. And that gives you a feeling of being in control of your disease. So, and anyhow, patients, they really want to be in control of their disease. So it's a bit of the chicken and the egg story, right? They need to be in control of their data, but they really want to share it at the same time as well. This is what drives them. Today, we don't really have, as a patient, we don't have the data yet in our hands. But if we would be able, and we would really be willing to share it as well, as long as it is to our benefits. Now, to sum it up, so the patient is no longer patient. I think I briefly touched upon the 4 trends, the 2 trends and the 2 needs that healthcare might have. I touched upon where we see it already today coming up and how the world is actually changing into a more healthier place. And the thing is that the whole world is kind of like innovating around that healthy stuff. What we see is that the outside clock of the patients that actually want all those services is not always in line with the clock of legal legislation, let's say. And that is something that we need to tackle. Because then, I can imagine you're all being lawyers or within the legal department, that very often people might come to you to reinvent the wheel with a specific question on, I would say, something health related. And I can imagine that very often you as a lawyer might have to say, yes, but. Is that right? And this is where the actual chair comes in. This chair, does anybody know this chair? This is this chair made by Studio Roosgaarde. And he's an innovator, he's an artist even. And this chair has voice recognition. So if somebody says, yes, but, there's a small electric shock that actually... So my point here is I've worked a lot with lawyers on digital projects, and the thing is that it's not about yes, but, and that's sure that's why you're all here, of course, but the thing is that it's, as a business owner, if you want to innovate something, we do not know all the ins and outs from a legal point of view. So we really need you to think along, and it's not about yes, but, it's more like, oh, but if you do this, then it might work. And this is pretty much, from a business owner kind of view, the element that I wanted to share with you. But I think that Vladimir will take over from here and explain you how you should not say yes, but. But think about the chair. That's pretty much my main message.